What's up, ladies and germs? This is Jelly Skeleton coming at you with another Diablo 4 video, and this one is kind of a follow-up to my previous video, going into something with a bit more detail when it comes to these skills that stood out to me from a gameplay standpoint and a game design standpoint. It's just an odd choice. So let me start talking about this. So in Diablo 3, there were certain skills that had cooldowns, but in general, with the exception of certain ones that, were really strong, they were short. And a lot of things, did in fact cost your resource. In the case of the Necromancer, it is essence. And the general gameplay style of Diablo 3, and also some of this game, is that you use a generator power to build up your essence, or whatever your resource, and then you have your spender power / powers that spend your essence. And in the case of this, though, really I'm using Corpse Explosion as a builder power because of this right here, Grim Harvest. But point being is you've got your power that is generating essence for you, and you've got your power that is spending it doing lots of damage. And the first two pieces of this skill tree here reflect that. That's the basic general thing. These things give you essence. These things use it. Necromancer also has an additional way down here, but just for the sake of brevity, all the classes have this function in this game. And I have not played every class in extreme detail, but, so some of them may vary, but this is how the Necromancer is, okay? The Necromancer is strange, so it's got this. But then once you get down here, you get to abilities that do not consume mana, including Corpse Explosion. It is now a generator power rather than a spender power. You got Blood Mist, which is only cost as a cooldown. Down here, these do spend mana also. These curses, and then you get back over here again. No spending mana. It's just a cooldown. That's the cost. And then, of course, you've got your ultimates, where that's the same thing. So you have two essentially completely different game systems for building these characters built into this, and they don't synergize at all. So you have the basic one that's the remnant of Diablo 3, where you've got your builder power and your spender power, but there is cooldown reduction, right? And I'm going to assume that probably most classes have this in some form. In the case of the Necromancer, it's with Decreptify, and this one ability in here creates an entirely different type of build, one that's based around cooldown reduction, allowing you to do things like spam Corpse Tendril, spam Blood Mist, and be able to have your ultimates online more regularly, which is essentially, you can't do both, right? You've only got 6 slots on your skill bar, and this is exacerbated even further by the fact you have to take up skill bar slots for your minions, being a Necromancer. If you want to run minions, and this is why most people are not running minions in this game, the way the mechanics work, the way the Necromancer works, is that you are discouraged from using your minions, and most people will just sacrifice their minions, right? They'll just sacrifice them for a small bonus, kind of defeating the purpose of playing the class, right? I mean, if you're just going to make, like, blood and bone and, like, darkness skills, why not just have a warlock at that point, as a class? Like, because the point of the Necromancer is the skeleton. So you have 3 separate competing strategies competing for the 6 slots on your bar, right? And you need them to synergize to an extent because, of obvious reasons. So you either are going to have your builder power and spender power strategy, or you're going to have your Decreptify cooldown reduction strategy, which probably will forgo using anything from these trees right here at all, right? So you've got builds that do not use cooldowns much, if at all, and then you've got builds that don't even use your resource much, if at all. And it's really weird, like, there's no consistency between this and this. Within this game, it's just a very stark contrast of, it's like 2 different designers made the skill tree. One designer made these 2, Another one made this one. First one made this one, and then the other one, the second guy made these two down here, and they were not on the same page at all. And this is again made worse by the fact that there's only 6 available slots. So I've chosen to go with minions and spender powers, right? Because it's much easier to mix that with the minions, because my only skills on the bar is this one and this one as a result of the spender strategy, because you're going to run Corpse Explosion on like every build. So these two are the only ones, right? Leaving me freedom to have, you know, Corpse Explosion, the minion, the golem, you know, like all that. But if you're to run this cooldown reduction variant, you're almost pretty much locking yourself into not being able to use minions. And minions are a whole nother beast in this game. They made them too weak. Everybody's bitching about that. Everyone's talking about how the minion build Necromancer is the worst Necromancer there is. And how Bone is the best, and all this and that. So it's very lopsided from a design standpoint. You know, why can't all of it be viable? Right? Why is like one build gonna dominate everything, and then you have a few minor builds, and then you've got people like me who just want to frickin' play your classic Necromancer, right? Corpse Explosion and minions. Mind you, I do have this incorporated into it because Corpse Explosion's a spender power now. Really? I mean, not a spender power, it's a generator power, not a spender, so you need to have a spender in there to get the damage, because Corpse Explosion's damage is not what it used to be, at least without those uniques I was talking about needing to farm. So, who designed this? There's no consistency. Like, I've dabbled in game design. I'm not going to say, you know, I'm a professional. I ain't working at Blizzard, but it just seems like whoever did it did not have a cohesive vision or wanted to put too much into one thing, right? There's no need for these wacky cooldown builds. It could all be based off of using Essence. It's very, very strange that half of the skills you get do not cost you any mana, essence, whatever you want to call it, any resource, and only based on cooldowns. And typically, when you find skills like that in a game, they're in games that do not have mana, or they have mana in conjunction with the cooldown. But it's this either-or thing that Diablo 4 is doing. That is just really fucking weird. This has been Jelly Skeleton. Sit and spin, my fine friends.